Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a chat about, well, I'm going to be honest with you, it's a card that I picked up very fortuitously on a little bit of a whim a few years ago at this stage, which has become a frankly ridiculous card. And it is a card that never actually got an English release. Let's have a gander, shall we? So, back apparently on August the 26th, 2016, over on CD Japan, I went and ordered the Pokémon card game art collection. And it was basically a book that celebrated the past 10 years of artwork in the Pokémon TCG. That's what this book did. Incidentally, absolutely beautiful book. We'll look at the price in a moment. Wonderful book. Here's the thing, though. It wasn't just a book. The reason, and that's a lie. I would have bought this book anyway, right? But one of the things, probably the thing that made this book even cooler than normal, was the fact that it came with a promo. And we're not talking about like some kind of nice little extra promo. No. We are talking about one of the coolest promos you'll probably ever see. It is basically the front of the art book zoomed in a bit. But what we've got here is phenomenal artwork of Venusaur fighting a Charizard. And just as a little bit of a side note before we keep going, you might be interested to note that we have seen other cards that might not exactly be this fight, but certainly seem kind of similar. I mean, check out this Charizard V, the alternate art from Brilliant Stars, which is a fight between a Venusaur and a Charizard. And then, of course, we've got the alternate art of that card, the one that for us came in the Charizard Ultra Premium collection, which very much seems to be, well, the aftermath of that fight. What happened next and all that. So I do like putting these cards side by side as just a nice little, hey, maybe they're telling a story, maybe they're all completely unconnected, but I still appreciate this and I think it's pretty gosh darned cool. But this is still a promo which is absolutely stunning and artwork wise absolutely phenomenal. Now, it is clearly Charizard EX, and I can go on pkmncards.com, have a cheeky bit of a look. We don't have this Charizard EX. Kind of. We don't have this print of Charizard EX. We do have this Charizard EX. This is actually the Charizard EX with Stoke that came around in Flashfire. Now, there were, I'm just double checking on PKMN cards to make sure I'm not being dumb. There were actually 3 different prints of this card. There was a regular one from Flashfire. Then there was the one which was a full art from Flashfire. And then there was the one that for us was in the EX Power Trio tins. It was a tin promo. And that was cool. We like this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very cool card. We love the artwork. Life is good. I don't think it's unfair to say that it doesn't look as cool as the promo. Not a new card. Like I say, it's a card that we got 3 different versions of, but it is still a card where Japan got the best version. Not a mechanically unique card, not a card we have to have, but a card which I think artwork-wise, I mean, come on, none of the other artworks can compare. I don't think that's mean to say. Now, I paid $19.44 for this at the time, plus a little bit of shipping. It wasn't hideously expensive to ship, so it was, when it released, a $20 card, although you got the book as well as the card. So what do we see if we head on over to eBay today and try to figure out exactly how much that card is worth? Yeah. I mean, if we look at, let's just look at the first row over here on eBay, the first things that pop up, and we can see that we've got a $600 unsealed, a $1,000 sealed, a $1,200 sealed, and a $1,500 PSA 10. Yeah, it's like a $1,000 card. Now, one thing that is very important to note here, as you can see, this was a card that did come sealed in the book. Funnily enough, my wife and I were, we were cleaning out my studio a couple of days ago, and I found this art book and opened it up to have a little bit of a look. And the sealed promo just fell out. I'm keeping it apparently in the book. And to be fair, I'm keeping it pressed in a book. It is in phenomenal condition. I'm never going to sell it, but it is actually in phenomenal condition. But there is a part of me that does feel a little bit bad for keeping it in a book. I'm not going to lie to you. But anyway, that's how much it costs at the moment. That's a rough guide. About 600 unsealed, 1,000 sealed, and 1,500 for a PSA 10. And there's all kinds of other listings, but that is a good, and I say this clearly, rough guide of value. But what's the I hear you all shouting, that's not sold, that's not what people are actually spending? Yeah, it's not a million miles away. I mean, if we have a look at sold, we've got a PSA 10 that sold for $12.25, which admittedly is a little bit less. We said it's about $1,500. But then we got unseals that sold for $570 and a best offer accepted of $670. So I told you the unsealed was about a $600 card. And actually, we can see here that the two unsealed are averaging out at around about $600. What about a sealed copy? Well, there aren't that many recently that have actually gone and been sold as sealed, but there is one recent sold that I can see there, which went for $980. Well, I told you it was $1,000 sealed, and yeah, that's about right, actually, ladies and gentlemen. So, as a rough guide, you're talking about $600 unsealed, $1,000 sealed, and around about $1,250 to $1,500 PSA 10. Obviously, the condition here comes into it a lot. Obviously, if someone hasn't opened it, it's unlikely to be in poor condition. Open is likely to be in worse condition. But that's a guide, yeah? It is not, by any stretch of the imagination, some kind of guarantee or anything along those lines. But when I say this went from a $20 card to a $1,000 card, I mean it went from a $20 card to a $1,000 card. I paid $20 for this card. It's now worth about $1,000. But firstly, I don't want a part of it. And secondly, it could go up in the future. Do I really want to sell it now? No, ladies and gentlemen, no, I don't. You may have guessed this before, but let me say it now. I don't collect Pokemon cards to try and make money reselling them. And if I did, honestly, if you look at what I've done in the past, I ain't doing it right. I pick up cards and collections which I think are cool because I think they're cool, and I don't sell them. But what about the book? If you just want to pick up the art book and you're not terribly worried about anything else, you're just wanting to pick up the art book, it's actually not that terrible. It's not amazing, but it's not that terrible. I mean, the last four that were sold on eBay, we've got $100, $110, $144 best offer accepted, and $85 best offer accepted. Although that was $10 shipping, so it's really $95. Point is, it's about a ton. If you want the book, it's about a ton. What I will say is, and let's be clear, you're not going to pick up the book with promo for anything like this, but if you just want the book, this is a pretty cool way to do it. And to be fair, it is a phenomenal book. It's literally, well, it is exactly what it says on the tin. It is an art book of Pokemon trading card game art for a 10-year period. And it's beautiful. It's a love the art book, and it's one that I would recommend very highly indeed. You are going to have to pay a little bit to get hold of it, and that sucks. But it is as it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is as it is. And obviously at this stage, I would love to tell you something along the lines of, well, you know what? There's going to be another one of these coming in the not too distant future. So don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be okay. Pick it up when it comes out. The reality is, I think this is one of those cool historical Pokemon TCG facts. But I think the ship's kind of sailed on this. Like, the closest I can remember to this in the past kind of year or so, past couple of years, was it was a CD that was released for the Pokemon Coco movie, and it had a Plump Musician promo card, and it is an extremely cool promo card, but it's a promo card that can be picked. I mean, there's one on eBay right now for like $25. So, unfortunately, not quite the same. I mean, I think it's fair to say Plump Musician, if anyone's wondering, it's the person that sung the song, which is kind of awesome. It's a card of them, but it's not the same. For starters, it's not a Charizard card. It's nowhere near as cool. It's much less rare. This is still, this was kind of the beginning of the time almost where people were onto this, if that makes sense. There came a point where everybody started going, hang on a second, this could be a rare card, so let's go and pick this up now. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, nowadays, whenever anything really cool like this comes out, everybody's on it. And there isn't the same kind of thing to happen. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could give you a nice little tip just for me and you. But instead, I hope I've left you with a nice little story about a weird Pokemon card and why it's worth so gosh darn much. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know if you've picked this up. I want to know if you want to pick it up. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord and chat with us, that's fun. And actually, you can get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Airglow TCG, who is a very lovely person. So thank you to Airglow TCG for the support and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.